Hello everyone and welcome to Golden Nova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. Fabled are here! That's right, another edition of the Terminal World Pack is being unveiled. Last time it was Durax, and today it is the Light Fiends, which we probably should have seen coming after the whole Fiend Smith situation. They weren't just gonna do Light Fiends one time, right? And let me tell you, when I saw this photo on Twitter, I jumped out of my seat. They put the Steel Swarm mask on this guy. There's been some hinting of a connection between the Fabled and the Steel Swarms, and this pretty much locks it in. Steel Swarm origin was this weird Link monster that showed up a while ago, but there wasn't much to tell about the origin of it, except for a Fabled-esque looking smile. But now, we can see the same dark tendrils that were on the Steel Swarms are here. He's wearing the mask. Leviathan has confirmed himself to be just that. But let's see what they actually do in practice. And my apologies if I'm a little stilted here for a second. My beautiful cat Moby has decided, as he often wants to do, to take up purchase upon my desk. So we're just going to move this keyboard out of the way so he doesn't do anything silly while we move on to our first card, the Fabled Behemoth, a level 2 light Fiend tuner. Now that's interesting. The Fabled monsters, if I remember correctly, are supposed to be beasts, so the fact that this one is a Fiend, something to keep an eye out. We have seen some mistranslations in the past, so let's take this with a grain of salt. There's a possibility this is a beast, but if it's a tuner, or if it's a Fiend, not too bad. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can discard 2 other Fabled monsters, including this card, to special summon a Fabled Synchro monster from your extra deck whose level equals the level of the discarded monsters, and this is treated as a Synchro summon. That's probably going to be very useful for the level 4 Synchro we've got coming up here. For those of you who aren't in the know, Fableds love being discarded by stuff. It's their favorite thing to do. So being able to Synchro Summon by discarding is kind of like being able to Fusion Summon in Dark World by discarding. So this will enable, I'm sure, a lot of plays off the cut. Just being able to do this from the hand, that's outrageous. That's bonkers. And if this card is sent from the hand to the graveyard, or if a card is sent from the hand to the graveyard while this card is in the graveyard, you can banish this card to special summon a Fabled monster from your hand. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what this is used for outside of turboing out monsters. You do run, or not you do, there are decks that run things like Sulcius, or versions of it, and that's a level 6 monster, so that's hard to actually get onto the field when it's not being used as a discard enabler. But no, that summons it directly to the field, I think, so I might not just know what I'm talking about when it comes to Fabled. We'll need to see if that factors into anything else. Next up, level 4 monster, Fabled Gamyujin. Fabled Gamyujin, level 4 light Fiend, Synchro Tuner. Synchro Tuner! 2000 attack, 0 defense, requires a Fabled Tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters as material. You can only use the first and third effect of this card once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summoned, you can special summon a Fabled monster from your hand or deck, so extension abounds. Your opponent cannot target other Fabled Synchro monsters you control with card effects. Neat. That keeps your draw effects online. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw cards equal to the number of Fabled Synchros you control, then discard 1. So, if you send it to the grave for a Synchro summon, you're going to have a Fabled, or send it to the graveyard for a Fabled Synchro, I should say. You get to draw 1, then discard 1 at least, so you're just cycling. At worst, you're cycling a card. At best, you're gaining actual advantage while enabling your discard effects. This is actually pretty nice. And this needs a Fabled tuner. Okay, not that that's a big worry, though. A lot of Fableds are really good to splash in a lot of decks, so even though it's not like a Fiend tuner, you can fit some Fabled tuners into your deck and be just fine. Alright, Fabled Leviazebulun. That's a mouthful. Leviazebulun is a level 10 light Fiend Synchro monster requiring a tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters as material, so it's completely generic. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. First effect, once per turn during the main phase as a quick effect. You can tribute any number of Fabled monsters that you control, and if you do, take control of the same number of face-up monsters your opponent controls, but their effects are negated. No until end of turn here, so you just get to steal them. They're just yours now. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one other Fabled card in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, add the target to your hand. Okay, so this infinitely recycles itself. Oh, it's not a trigger, though. It's if it's in the graveyard, you can take another one. Okay, so it's like just a little Cyframe Lord Omega. That's pretty nifty. I dig it. I dig it. I don't know if it's like huge. As a quick effect disruption of stealing monsters, that's pretty spicy. And they put those 50 attack and defense stats in there. The classic Evil Swarm. I don't think the Steel Swarms do that. I forget if they do. But I know the Evil Swarms do that. So that's a classic type line for that. Another hint at the true nature of the Fabled. And lastly, Resurrection of a Fabled Realm. Continue a spell card. You can only activate this card once per turn. When this card's activation resolves, you can set a Fabled spell or trap directly from your deck, except a copy of this card. Your opponent cannot activate effects when your Fabled Synchro monsters are Synchro summoned. And once per turn, you can discard a Fabled card to activate one of the following. Either draw a card or special summon a Fabled monster from your graveyard or banishment. Ooh, okay. So working from the bottom here, any Fabled card in your hand either cycles for a draw, or you get a Fabled from your grave or banishment. Fantastic. Holy cow. It's a discard outlet that gets you a cool thing. Second effect being a nifty little way to keep your synchro, or make sure your synchros resolve is pretty tight. And then set a Fabled spell or trap card directly from your deck. Now, we have had a few of those during recent waves of support, so it's not outlandish. Like, I think beforehand we didn't have any, or before the modern waves of support we didn't have any, but now we do have a couple here. Cool. Let me check here. Let me go ahead and go little old Yu-Gi-Oh card database. Let's go check what our options are really quickly. Let's see what is in the Fabled arsenal right now. Andraith. I remember Andraith being released, and I thought this would be the huge thing that gave Fabled a bump. Maybe we'll see just more Andraiths, because this... what does this do? This card is special summon, discard a card, negate it. Otherwise, you draw 2 cards. Then discard a card. Summon from the hand of the graveyard. You can target one of those, special summon it. Yeah, okay. I had to remember what it was. I know I said it was going to be really good, but I had to remember. There's a lot of cards out there. But no, just the fact that it's like, hey, let me draw 2 cards or pitch a spell or trap card that can be really powerful. If you pitch a monster, I get to take it. Like, that's hilarious. Okay, we're looking at the spells and traps here specifically. There's like 32 of these. What was the number? Yeah, 32 Fabled cards. I can't justify spending a million years here figuring that out, though. Here's that Lurie, famous Lurie. Ragin. Okay, Fabled Treason. Target a Fabled monster in your graveyard and a face-up card on the field. Discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon that monster from your graveyard, and if you do, destroy that card on the field. So, you get a monster, they lose a card. A face-up card, though, that's very important. Stairway to a Fabled Realm, that's our other target, I believe. I think we only have those 2. And that's our field spell. When this card is activated, send a Fabled from your deck to the graveyard. You can target a Fabled monster in your grave, discard 2, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. If your Fabled monster attacks an opponent's monster and you have less cards in your hand than your opponent, your monster gains attack equal to the difference times 200. So for every 200 more cards they have in their hand, it gains... For every 1 card in their hand, you gain 200. Okay. These are both pretty alright. Stairway to a Fabled Realm is pretty good setup because you're getting your graveyard filled up, and then you can add it to your hand by discarding 2 cards, which, once again, is what you want to be doing in the deck. So this is just... everything about this is outrageous, especially because you can only activate 1 of these per turn, but you can only activate 1 card per turn. You can activate these effects. These are once per turns. This is a soft once per turn on here. So activate this 1 turn, set the Fabled spell or trap, pitch a Fabled, do one of these 2 options. Then on a following turn, you can play a second Resurrection, set another Fabled spell or trap card, and then you could twice, once per each copy, pitch a Fabled, get one of these effects. That's goofy. That's goofy. See you, Moby. The Synchro seems incredibly easy to get into. While it's generic, all of its actual effects require you to use or are centered around Fabled cards, so it's not a wild level 10 synchro. Like, technically it's generic, but it's not going brazy. Gamyujin, I think, is outrageous, and I think the Fabled Behemoth goes even further beyond that. This is bonkers. I also don't like how close this looks to the Behemoth King of All Beasts. They gotta tone that. They gotta tone that connection down a bit. I'm not. They got it. That can't. That no. I'm not. I'm not cool with. They can't be hinting that connection in dual terminal. But I think, yeah, all these cards are absolutely goofy. Is there anything in here that we can pull from? There's like a big gate. It's the what was it? The resurrection of a fabled realm. So, you know, I don't think this actually runs counter to what I was saying previously. Like, previously in the Living Lore videos, the direct meteor hits the continent and kills a bunch of fabled. But some of them would be in the fabled realm, shielded from the attack, and they would just shut it off. So this is like the rebirth of that realm. There's a bunch of like blue fire over here. This might not be a past series of cards. We might be looking at, like, because last dual terminal there was 2 sets that were in the past and 2 were in the future. And the 2 past ones, I believe, were the Ice Barrier and the Gen X ones. Hold. Sorry about that. Phone alarms. So, okay. Real quick before I go on a tangent here, cards are incredible. Keep a lookout for any more ones that they get released. These are fantastic. There's no way around it. Every one of these cards is a banger. Does it make Fabled meta playable? I hate going on that question because I think the answer is no, but it does make them a lot more powerful. I don't think it makes a Fabled as part of a general Fiend package good either, because a lot of these are very specifically Fable tuned, but it could work. It could work. Anyway, so that's my takeaway for that stuff. Let me know down below what you think its impact on the meta will be, what cards you would like to have seen here, and what your lore implication thoughts are. And then second to that one, so like the blue flames here on the resurrection of the Fabled Realm could be in concert with the Infernoid and the Ritual Beast stuff with the future stuff in that last set, and the Infernoid flood thing was causing that big fire, like wall of blue fire. So maybe this is like pulling the Fabled back out from that realm, and they had some of the Steel Swarm with them. But the fact that Steel Swarm Origin is a whole thing, maybe this is like the past cards, and I'm just coping to try and save my current timeline of things. Either way, these cards are fantastic. Hopefully we'll get a few more to round things out, and I can't wait to see what the other 2 are going to be, so we can get even more info. I was a little underwhelmed with what we got in the Dirac ones. The implications of these ones are astounding. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next time Terminal World info drops, and as always, I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and get 5% off your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media, and the Wizard Moose, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabits, Ada Basilisk, Adams Ajdel, Oexa Toahime, Anansi Dragon, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Gloomba 331, Great Big Pillock, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Howling Zangetsu, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Leo 458, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Picata, Megacombi, Millennia Asta, Mern, Muse Clark, Nathan Vig, Natiel Lee Alexander, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Poos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Serenity Towns, The Critic of Innocence and Thievery Coast, Cosmic Crusaders Andrew J. Whitaker, Ariel Kersey, Baden von Titty Sprinkles, Beelzephyr, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Dr. Reaper R.I.P., Eki Bullock, Eva Padilla, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Ignis Heat the True Draco Slayer, Inblink, Kale the Dragon, Kevon Public, Lobamaru 02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, McSpoofy, Michael Shimobukuro, Nitromo, Nyx, Obsidian, Shizuka Nijimura, Sophie, apparently, Stephen Williamson, Taylor Seymour, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Pokemon 52, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown, and Zaldreka, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you'd check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.